Hi everyone, it's me, Joseph again, back with some more Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and welcome to a brand new series for a variety of players, as it was. This is the sort of squad building series that I'm going to call, they're going to be called different things, okay? There's going to be squads for beginners, squads for veterans, and squads to consider. Squads for beginners are people who are just getting into the game. They've been playing for like maybe a few weeks, maybe a month or two. They're still trying to figure out what squads they need in order to get the best out of the game, how to utilize those early characters, and eventually build up to become a very strong player. Next along the line of evolvement, if you will be the squads to consider. This is for people who've been playing for maybe 4 months or so, maybe coming up to a year. You're really sort of thinking about the characters you've earned, what's going to be next for you as a player, how you can impact a guild, how you can seriously get yourself higher and higher. And then that leads us to squads for veterans, which are the squads for players who have, like nearly every legendary character like Thrawn and BB-8, and you're thinking about what you can do with those characters, how you can utilize them to the best of their ability, and dominate the top 10 arena. So today we're doing squads to consider. So this is a squad that will be very good for people who have started to evolve as a player, because while they are cool and very powerful, they will not do you very well until you have Zetas, which will be about level 80. So that's going to take some investment and time. And I am of course talking about the Resistance. I Zeted my Finn just last night, and I've already had some incredible fun with this guy. So for those of you that don't know, Zeta Finn has the ability to, there is that bit at the start to do with advantage, but we're really here for is whenever an enemy takes damage from expose, reduce all cooldowns of resistance allies by 1 and give them 35% turn meter. What this means is every resistance character on your squad will gain 35% turn meter and reduce their cooldowns, which just allows them to put out more exposure. So it gets pretty crazy pretty quickly. All of the characters pretty much have an ability that allows them to expose. Finn has his takedown, which has an 80% chance to stun a target as well, but there is I believe it's a 100% chance to inflict expose as long as they don't resist it. We've got BB-8 who doesn't expose, but he's got his own kit, which we'll talk about. Poe has his taunt, which puts out taunt and buff immunity, and also reduces turn meter. Trooper has a expose on his basic, and Pilot has a expose on her special. So that means there are 4 characters that make this squad very, very powerful, and you need in order to do this properly. That's Finn and Poe as your 2 sort of leader, work together characters. Whenever Poe loses taunt, he will give it to Finn as long as you've got the Omega. So those 2 will be cranking out the most exposes out of the characters. And then you've got Trooper and Pilot. Trooper's crazy because he's got an expose on his basic, so even if you can't reduce all the cooldowns, you've at least got that as a temporary backup to try get out expose. And Pilot also does crazy amount of damage. I was doing the tank raid earlier, and to be honest, he was doing just as much or even more damage as my Wedge does, which was very crazy to see, and there'll be some footage of that very soon after I just talk about these characters. But I've talked about the 4 main slots there for this team, all the people with exposed, which means you have 3 other characters to choose from when thinking about this squad. And all of them have different uses. Just because I use BB-8 doesn't mean that R2 and Rey are terrible. Rey is a solid character who can deal lots and lots of damage, and we've got both of her specials do multitudes of attacks, and she has foresight, so which means under the Zeta lead of Finn, she'll gain advantage every time she loses it, and she's got her flurry of blows, which does multiple attacks, and it's crazy, and she's got so much offense, and if you've got a Zeta on that, she can inflict daze and just really wreck the house. But this is a character, if you're still sort of in the early end of the game, maybe Rey is the character that will do you fine, because the other 2 are legendary characters, so I understand that a lot of people will have them at like a high star yet. So the Ray team will actually destroy the tank phase 2, if I believe. It doesn't do the best on phase 4 because you can't get everyone a buff, which, you know, is where you start to lose. But as a phase 2 team on the normal and heroic tank and galactic war team, with Ray you're still going to do fine. R2-D2 is quite the other end of the spectrum. He's one of the earlier legendary characters who's just finishing today actually, but he probably won't be around by the time this video comes out. He is the opposite of Ray, as in the fact that he will dominate phase 4 of the tank over phase 2. This is because of his smoke screen. He's able to give everyone stealth and is able to give foresight to everyone. So combined with like Poe, who's got like taunt, you can make sure everyone's buffed and everyone's surviving. He's got, you know, AoE. He won't do as much damage as Ray would, but as a character with like his number crunch, you know, giving out all of his stats, he's gonna be a good character to keep you alive. Now I use BB-8 and there's a few reasons for this. First of all is his basic has tenacity down, which is, you know, very useful for inflicting more exposed, which, you know, is the main key of this team. But his special little thing going on here, Secret Intel, grants 25% potency, which is always, you know, a little help when you're trying to, you know, put on a detrimental effect, such as expose, which is good. And if you are spamming this button like crazy, then everyone on your team is going to have a buff, which means they can survive the phase 4 attack from the airship. But it means they'll also still be cranking out loads of damage in phase 2, which means that this team can be utilized on both phases, which is great. Because of his Illuminated Destiny, you see he dispels all debuffs on all of his allies and exposes all the enemies. Everyone gains 80% turn meter, advantage, crit chance, blah 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 blah, all of these effects, and it's pretty crazy to get off. Like if you're exposing loads of people at once and you just keep spamming specials, then you're going to be able to get this off like multiple times during a topple of a tank, and you know, you can't really complain. It's just incredible. So those are the characters. You know, there's not much to choose from in terms of building the squad, but as long as you get the 4 key ones that I've talked about, then you're going to have a lot of fun. The Zeta is really the main ability you're going to need, as well as I would suggest the Omega on Finn's expose attack here, just to make sure that, you know, you've got 100% chance of exposing. You've also got the higher chance of stunning, and you've also got the reduced cooldown, which means it's going to be coming out a lot more. Poe, I'd suggest maybe getting his, definitely getting his taunt to Omega, gives, you know, a higher exposed chance, and you know, buff immunity is also very handy if you're dealing with tanks, which you can always appreciate. You want Omega on Troopers basic for the more exposed, Omega on pilots special for more exposed. Essentially, you just want all of the abilities that can expose Omega, because more than likely the final tier will give a higher exposed chance. I don't actually have it yet on this pilot, so the footage you'll see in a minute will be, you know, I do run into a few problems where I can't expose with her just as much as the other characters because she's only got a 50% chance to actually inflict it. But saying that, all of these characters are great. I've got them modded for different things. Poe, I believe, is modded for speed mainly, so that, you know, he's able to get off taunt straight away at the start of a fight. Everyone's exposed, you know, you start popping them off one by one, everyone else follows. I did put quite a bit of speed on Finn as well as a bit of extra potency. Everyone's going to gain 25% potency from BB-8 anyway, so I think that was just worth it in general, to have more speed than potency here. But yeah, if you are wanting to get the toppest tier squad, obviously containing BB-8, invest in your first order characters. I've speculated recently in my news digest for Halloween that maybe they will be returning soon, as TIE Fighter Pilot is currently the login reward for this month. But don't be afraid if you've got R2-D2 or Ray either. I believe 6 stars on R2-D2 should be fine. You want to get the 7-star Ray, just so you can get more damage out, really. as you can see, Pilot is only gear 8. It's really just Finn and Poe that you really want geared up. I've seen BB-8 at gear 8 as well. I just had some of the extra pieces that I wanted to put on him. It's just really those two that you want geared, and then of course you want to get Zeta on him. But I'd only say consider this if you are at the level where you're farming Zetas, you're thinking about who your first choice is going to be. Maybe you've got a few weeks before you get 20 Zetas. You know, start investing in the Resistance. I'm going to play some footage now, a bit of Galactic War and a bit of the tank raid. I ran into a few problems during both of them, mainly because of like how many times I could expose with Pilot. But overall, I think I did like 60% of the tank raid before I forgot to buff my trooper. So it ended a bit prematurely, but you know, it has the potential to 100% dominate phase 4 of the tank. So I hope you enjoy checking out this squad. I hope you consider this squad because you know, ever since I got it last night, I've been replaying Galactic War nodes. I've been, you know, going in, beating them, retreating just to do it again. It's a ton of fun, and it's actually made the game very refreshing for me, and you know, a lot more fun again. You know, I used to get annoyed at seeing CLS and Thrawn and General Kenobi teams in Galactic War, but now I just like pop, expose them, and just let BB-8 dominate them all. So yeah, here's that footage. I'll see you all next time. I am actually going to hide a little JPEG of Kylo Ren somewhere in the video, so if you can find the timestamp that he's in and put it in the comments, then you get a little congratulations from me and you win this little game. So enjoy the video. I'll see you again next time. Thank you very much. Bye! Bye.